Hey guys, Chef KD here. Your Healing Heavy Horse message is coming you from Texas today. I've been at Lake Caddo for a couple of days with a friend of mine, and we have just enjoyed this beautiful weather. Take a look around at the serenity. And that's Hank. Tell him, Hank, say hi. There you go. Y'all heard it first from Hank. All right, so tonight, we came across a young lady who posted something I thought everybody should hear. Miss Paula Stevens' little note was, what I wish more people understood about losing a child. And I would even go, a loved one, a parent, especially a child. But this is her story. This is 4.5 years after losing her child. Her oldest son, okay, here we go. I'm going to read it verbatim. I finally went to a grief support group for parents who had lost children. I went to support a friend of mine who recently lost her son. I'm not sure I would have gone, except that when I was in her shoes 4 years before that, I wish I'd have had a friend to go with me. Remember what we said about always be there for someone else. Losing a child is the loneliest, most desolate journey a person can take, and the only people who can come anywhere close to appreciating what's going in your mind and in your life of those who have shared the experience. Well, this meeting was a local chapter of the Compassionate Friends, an organization solely dedicated to providing support for those who have lost children, grandchildren, or siblings. The facilitator was a tall gentleman who had lost his 17-year-old son 8 years ago. He opened up the meeting by saying, listen to this now, that the dues to belong to the club are more than anyone would ever want to pay. Well, he couldn't have been more correct. No one wants to belong to this group. No one wants to be at Healing Heavy Hearts, and honestly, you'd rather have something to do tonight but look at this or listen to this. A group of incredible survivors included parents whose children had been killed by drunk drivers, children had been murdered, died of an overdose, alcoholism, suicide, or just freak accidents. The children's ages ranged from 6 to 38 years old. When hearing the stories, I had just this total reaction in my mind that being part of this club, I was also humbled by the greatness of these mothers and fathers. Most of what I want to share in this article came from this meeting, but also from my own experience of having lost a child. Remember, this is not my story, but hers. And being 4 years into that lifelong journey of healing with deep, deep grief. The following 5 tips can be your compass to help you navigate how to give support to grieving parents on this sacred journey they never wanted to take. Number 1, remembering our children. The loss of children is a pain all bereaved parents share, and it is a degree of suffering. Hey, Don, what's up? That is impossible to grasp without experiencing it firsthand. Often when we know someone else is experiencing grief, our discomfort keeps us from just approaching them head on. We really don't know what to say. And we've said before, sometimes you just don't say anything, you just be there in love. But we want the world to remember our child and children, so no matter how young or how old our child was. If you see something that reminds you of my child, tell me. If you are reminded at the holidays or on his birthday that I'm missing my son, please tell me you remember him. And when I speak his name or relive memories, relive them with me. Don't shrink away. If you've never met my son, don't be afraid to ask about him. One of my greatest joys was talking about my son, Brandon. Number 2, except you can't fix us. An out-of-order death, an out-of-time sequence death where a child dies before a parent, breaks a person, especially a parent. It breaks a parent in a way that's not even fixable, and it's not even solvable, ever. We may get better, but it's never changed. You are changed forever to a person that you'll never be like you were when the child was alive. We will learn to pick up the pieces and move forward, but our lives will never, ever. Every grieving parent must find a way to continue with loss, and it's a solitary journey. We appreciate your support and hope you can be patient with us as we find our way. Please don't tell us it's time to get back to life, that it's been long enough, or they're in a better place, or that time's going to heal all wounds. We welcome your support and your love, and we know sometimes it's hard to watch, but our sense of brokenness isn't going away. It's here. But from you, hey Karen, it's something to observe in our life. It's something to recognize in our life. And it's something to accept that it's something we have had happen. And that's just the journey we're on and where we at. Number 3, remember there are 2 days a year that we just need time out. And this isn't just at the beginning. This is forever. We still count on birthdays and fantasize what our child would be like, or our friend, or our husband, or wife, or whoever, if he or she was still living. So birthdays are especially hard for us. Our hearts ache to celebrate our child's arrival into this world, but we are left becoming intensely aware of the hole in our hearts instead. Some parents create rituals on the birthdays and have parties, and others prefer solitude. And honestly, it's just whatever fits you is what you need to do. Either way, we're likely going to need some time to process the marking of another year without our child. Give us some space, give us some time out. Then there's the anniversary of their going home, the date our child became an angel. This is a remarkable process similar to the parent of a newborn. First counting the days, then the months, then the 1-year anniversary, then marking the time on the other side of the crevasse in our lives. And you know what a crevasse is if you're not a Cajun, okay? A crevasse or a trenasse is just this big hole, this big empty void. Know how many years has passed, the anniversary date of when our child dies brings back deep emotional memories and painful feelings, particularly if there was a trauma associated with the child's death. The days leading up to that day can be like an impending doom, approaching disaster, or it's like it's just hard to breathe, hard to function. We may or may not even share with people around us what's going on. This is where the process of remembrance will help. If you have heard me speak of my child and have supported me in remembering him or her, you'll be able to put the pieces together and know when these days that just are so tough are approaching. Colette a lot of times marks down the going home anniversary that she can call and share with friends. Some friends of ours this week, on the going home day for their son, they had just a freak accident, but the place that he lived in behind their house caught fire and burnt. Just an accidental fire from someone burning trash. Imagine just the shock of that on that date. All right. Number 4, realize that we struggle every day with happiness. It's an ongoing battle to balance the pain and the guilt of outliving your child with the desire to live in a way that honors them and their time on the earth. Can you imagine a sound, a smell, a certain candy, just a certain TV show? Anything could be just a memory, bringing it all back fresh. This lady goes on to say she was on a family cruise 18 months after Brandon died. On the first day, I stood in the back of the ship and bawled and cried because I wasn't being able to share this experience with him. Then I had to steady myself and recognize that I was also creating memories with my surviving sons and enjoying the time with them in the present moment. Remember, we shared a story of one of my classmates who had lost a son and was in such a depressed state that the 2 surviving children lost their mom when their sibling passed. As bereaved parents, we are constantly balancing holding on to grief in one hand and a happy life after loss in another. You might observe this when you're with us at a wedding, a graduation, or other milestone celebration. Witness it with us, and be part of our process. This process is time-consuming, and it's all time involved because we will never change, and we live through this and only hope our friends can learn to love and understand it and be there with us through it. Number 5, please accept the fact that we know and that you should understand that when you're around someone that has faced the loss, it's probably going to make you uncomfortable because you really don't know what to say. But believe me, saying nothing and being there in love means more than anything. It's out of the order. It challenges your sense of safety. It'll put you out your comfort zone. We haven't experienced that loss, and we've been out that comfort zone for a long time with some very close friends. We've learned all of this is part of what we are learning about grief in that journey. And we have some books. If anyone is going through it, please contact us. 3 weeks, the world just kind of goes back to normal and you don't. 3 months, you kind of feel like nobody even remembers anything and you're moving on, but it's too hard to go on. 6 months, there might be a day or two where you have a good day. And you get towards a year, then you start that anniversary. It's coming, holidays. All of these bring back the memories. And as friends, we just need to allow that to just totally let the presence of God and his love work through all of us. So that was her article. And I'm going to close with just a brief prayer because nothing man can say or nothing man can do would really change anything. God is infinite, and it's God's timing is beyond our understanding. It doesn't change the fact that being stuck back on planet Earth when you're missing someone you love just isn't right. So, Father, right now, thank you so much. There's so many people that experience this that have no earthly clue, but there's a heavenly clue. We thank you for the God that is all loving, all compassionate. He knows what we feel because he experienced it as he watched his son die on the cross. And that was probably as horrible a death as could be humanly imagined. And remember, Jesus Christ was God, but he was also in a man's body and experienced it, death on the cross as a man. So we love you, and I'm going to give you one last look at just this peaceful setting and hope it means something to you. God bless. We see you next time, and in Christ's name, we lift all of this before you. Hank, go tell him bye. Hank, you not going to tell him bye?
Shut up.
Hank's not telling y'all bye. Good night, y'all. We love you.